Hey, welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Pastor Nathan Metz here at Community Church in Newark, Ohio. We're just 30 minutes east of Columbus. And I'm telling you where we're located because there's way more to church than just sermons on YouTube. We hope that if you are in the area, you would come and join us in person if you're able to. Even if you're not in the area, there's a local church near you, and YouTube channel sermons are really only supplements to our involvement in a local congregation. This that you're getting ready to watch, this sermon, is just cut from our entire worship time together. I do hope, though, that it provides some challenging or encouraging content, and that God would be able to speak to you in the middle of your week.
Well, there's two sides to every story. I'm going to tell you my side. You can read about my side in Luke 15. My story, it's a story of reward and consequence. It's a story of punishment and separation and love. It's a family story. It's about me and my little brother and our dad. Our dad. My father is the most amazing father that you've ever heard of. I love him. I admire him. I give my life, all of my life, from the moment that I wake up until the morning that I go, the time that I go to sleep. Everything that I do is really for him, and hoping that maybe he would just see a little bit of what I'm doing. My little brother's different, though. Even as we were growing up, I was always, kind of excelling at everything. And everything that we did in life, I put all of myself into it because I wanted to be great at it. And I usually was, but I would also set up games and things with my brother because he was younger and smaller and I was older and smarter, and I would organize the games to make sure that I would win. And so he was used to losing. And as we began to grow, I think I continued to do well, and he continued to struggle, and that became a perception that he carried, that he was going to lose to me. And I admittedly didn't hate that because I was winning. I worked hard, though. I mean, it's not like I stole from my brother. Everything that I got because I worked hard, and so in a way, I deserved what I had. I remember one time I was out in the field and I was watching the goats, and I was sitting leaning up against the tree, and I'd been there for a long time keeping an eye on these goats. That's all Father wanted me to do, is to watch these goats, and I was looking. This kind of gives you a picture, actually, of who my father is. He's a great father, but I don't always understand his priorities. I was supposed to watch all these goats, and he was supposed to be over there watching the sheep. And I was just sitting there watching these goats and thinking about how well I had been doing. I mean, everything I had been touching lately was really going well. And I was looking at one of them, and I thought, I bet that very soon my father's going to give me one of these goats just as kind of a celebration party of some kind. I was thinking that it was time to be rewarded. And as I was thinking about this, and I looked over, and my father was gone. He wasn't with his sheep. And I asked him about it later, and he said that one of them had gone off, and he went to go find it. And that's what I kind of mean about his priorities. We have one job, and I love him, but I don't understand his decision-making sometimes. Well, I spent a lot of time in the field working. Never did get a lot from my father, I think, of what I deserved for all the effort that I was putting in. One time I was called up to the house. And as I got up to the house, have you ever entered a room and you thought, as soon as you entered the room, that you must have come in right at the beginning or the end of a fight or something? Like you entered the room, and the moment that you came in, you could just feel the weight, like the awkward weight of the room. Somebody had just said the one thing that went too far, and then you stepped in the room, and you had to kind of figure out, what did I just step into the middle of? And that's what happened. I got called up to the house, and I went up there, and I walked in the room, and I felt that weight, and I yelled out, "What did he do?" And I said that because usually if something had gone wrong and I felt that weight, it was his fault. You know people like this. You have people like this in your life. You walk in a room, and if there's something wrong, it's probably them. They're probably the one that did it. That's just, it's like every place they go, they self-destruct. And so I yelled, "What did he do?" And as I'm looking around the room, my younger brother is over here, and he is kind of standing back like this, but his face is red. His eyes are red, and he has this look of belligerence on his face. And I could tell he was the one that said something that made the room feel like this. And I looked around, everybody, their jaws are dropped. And my father was standing in the middle of the room as if he was waiting to greet someone, but there was no one there to greet him. He was just crying. And he said, without looking at me, eyes cast upon my brother, "Is that what you want?" I interrupted. Wait, what? What does he want? What did he say? What is he doing? My brother said yes, and it's like they're ignoring me. That's what he wants. And my father looks over at the side of the room to where the other people are, motions to them, and they bring him this chest. And as my father just begins to crack open the chest, he just barely gets it open, a glimmer of light comes out. And I leaned down and looked, and I could tell there's gold in there. There's precious stone in there. And my father gets down on his knees, and he begins to separate out, putting some over here and putting some over here. Now, as he's doing this, I'm thinking, well, either my brother has asked for a loan, which is not a good idea, that he's not going to pay it back, or he's asked for a gift, which is not a good idea because he hasn't earned it. I deserve a gift, and I haven't even asked for one. My father should know just to give me a gift. So I'm just going to leave that out. There's no way my brother would ask for a gift. He hasn't earned it. The other option didn't even seem possible. It would be that he's asked for his portion of our wealth. And as he begins to put the gold on the other side and the jewels on the other side, I realize that that's exactly what he's done. My idiot brother, my ignorant, selfish little brother has walked in here doing nothing to help himself and asked my father for his portion. I lost it. To do that is like saying, I would rather have your stuff than you. It's like saying, I wish you were dead so I could have my inheritance. I'm trying to live my life doing all the right things, working hard, being a good person, and I'm pretty close. I'm doing a really good job of being good. And I deserve this. And he's done nothing to help himself, and he's just taking it. And my father is complicit. I refused. Well, my brother took his gold, he took his jewels, and he left. Good riddance. No distraction for me now. But that immediately changed something in our family reputation. From that moment forward, I went to all the places that I was used to going to, and I would walk in, and the people that had known me since I was a little boy, they would be careful now what they were saying. They were cautious not to say the things about, that boy that took his father's wealth and left. So if it got close to little brother in the conversation, if it got close to inheritance, if it got close to portion, somebody would elbow. No. And I realized that all this hard work that I'm putting into being a good person, and my brother with one request has ruined my reputation. I am tarnished because of him. My father didn't make it any easier. We'd go different places and we would sit and spend time and we'd talk about, all the things that are happening, community events. And someone would get close to talking about my little brother and they'd get elbowed and I'd feel this all over again. And I'm just thinking, be careful not to get close to that because I don't want to feel this awkwardness again. And it's as if it didn't bother my father at all. We'd be in this situation and all I'm trying to do is tiptoe and avoid this little brother, and my father would be sitting there having cake and going on and on about the cake. What kind of cake is this? He'd get loud and draw attention in the room. And he had this way about him that the way that he would carry himself was so full of joy, it made you feel like you should be happy too. And so he'd be sitting there eating this cake. Who made this cake? This is the best. What kind of cake is this? You've got to give me the recipe. My son would love this cake. He's such a sweet tooth. Why? Why would he bring up? I don't understand, because doesn't he realize that the son he's referring to is the one who wanted him dead, who would rather have his stuff than him? Don't hear him talking about me that way. So we heard, it's not a shocker. My brother took his stuff. He goes off to this land, wastes all of it, of course. And then we hear that he has nothing left. So sad. He spent all of it. It's pretty sad. I suppose I'm supposed to feel bad about this. Listen, I feel bad, I guess, but don't you have people in your life who make choices and you know that you're supposed to have some kind of sympathy, but it's like, there's only so much sympathy in the glass, and I've been pouring it out on you for years. I mean, it's empty. At some point, I've got no sympathy left, and this is your fault. You've worked hard to bring it on yourself, and that's how I felt about my brother. I was out in the field one day, and I got called up to the house because Dad was upset. As I got up there, I found him crying. And I don't want to say that my father doesn't cry. He actually does cry. I just never really understand why he's crying. So he's crying, and I approach him, and I ask him why he's crying. He says, well, I'm pleading for my lost sons. And I said, how could you be praying and pleading and weeping for that boy? Why aren't you praying and pleading for me? What does he not see? How hard do I have to work? How much of myself do I have to give to earn the respect of this father? Crying, and then I realize that he said sons. He said sons. I'm lost, apparently. I stormed out. I stormed out because I was going to prove that I was valuable, that I was worthy, that I deserved something because of my effort. You know what I'm talking about. You don't want to give your life and work and work and work and be the very best that you can be and not be recognized for it. The longer that I did this, it's like trying to feel the respect and love of my father, and it's like I'm getting further away from him. I got called up to the house from the field one day. I had been working, and as I circled around and got near the house, I could hear my father's big baritone voice singing out. And then I heard other people singing, and I could hear dancing. And I could smell food. And as I got up close to the house, there's a servant there, and I asked him, what's happening? I thought it was weird that here I am, the only son left, and I'm working, and I'm good, and I'm right, and I'm excellent, and I am everything that my father should be respecting, and they didn't invite me to something. Or I was working so hard I didn't see the invitation. I got up to the house, and a servant came out. And I asked him, what is this? And the servant said, your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf for him because he has him back safe and sound. What? What does he deserve? I deserve. Thought I deserved. I left. I couldn't even go in. I went out and I hid my face in tears in my cloak, weeping. And as I pulled my face away, I saw my father's feet next to me. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for. I said, look, all these years I've been slaving and I've never disobeyed your orders. But when this son of yours returns after squandering your property with prostitutes, you kill the fattened calf for him. Didn't even give me a goat for me to celebrate with my friends. He gives this young son the fattened calf. And my father spoke the words to me that I want to give to you. My son, the moment he said, my son, I realized that I had called myself a slave. That in all my effort to please my father, I lost my father because I abandoned my sonship and I traded it in for slavery. He said, my son, you are always with me. I didn't feel that. You are always with me, he said. And everything that I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad. Because your brother has returned. He was dead and he is alive. He was lost and is found. Jesus continued. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to be a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I'll set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. My brother carried this by himself. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. I felt that too. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and he went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, this is my dad's priorities. While he was still a long way off, that means my dad was looking for him a long way off. I knew he was. I saw him. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. And he ran to his son and he threw his arms around him and he kissed him. That's my dad. The son said to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. I know my father doesn't take this answer though. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. Now, I missed this. I missed this. For the son of mine was dead and is alive again. He's lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. And meanwhile, the older son was in the field. Isn't he good? The older son was in the field just working and working and working. He's a good man. When he came near the house, he heard the music and dancing because he missed it. So he called one of his servants and asked him what was going on. Your brothers replied. The servant knew, not the brother. Your brother has come, he replied. Your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry. And he pleaded with him, but he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you. That's what I told him. All these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never even gave me a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you're always with me and everything I have is yours, but we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again, was lost and is found. My father did it right. My brother and I missed it. My little brother thought that he was too far gone to be in a relationship with the Father. And I thought I was too good to be in a relationship with my Father. That surely I had earned some merit, and I turned the whole relationship into a store. I'll give you this if you give me this. And he just wanted to love me. And because I had done that and lived that life, I missed this table. I missed the table of celebration because I was working too hard, trying to be good. How deep the Father's love for us. It's deep because He is love. And He loves you. What is your relationship to the Father? I'm not saying, do you work for Him? I'm saying, are you son and daughter to the loving Father? How deep the Father's love for us. It's deep because He is love. You know that. And He loves you as a father. What is your relationship to Him? And I'm not saying like you have a really bad past and at least you've pulled it together and you've come to church, but there's still some distance there because of all the stuff you've done. He loves you and He knows what you did. How deep the Father's love for us. And I think sometimes He loves us more than we love us. He loves us with a more pure love, and you cannot earn it. I worked. You might be working to earn something that has already been earned. Out in the field with the wheat, making bread to prove, and do something to earn what has already been earned, the work that I put forward. There was already a work. Whatever we might be earning in our lives, we become limited by our goodness when we think that our goodness earns His love. This was His love for you. That He gave His only life. He gave His only Son for you. This is the work that did it, and it did it fully and completely. There's nothing that older sons can do to add to this. He allowed his body to be broken, and he poured out his blood. And when you are in a relationship with the Father, you are not asked to toil and earn your way into that relationship. You are asked to sit and celebrate the life of Christ that is free. It is free. Are you sitting at the banquet table? Or are you working in the field wondering when your invitation will come? There needs to be some changing dialogue. Older brother, older sister, if you are working, that's great. It doesn't earn your way into childhood in the family of God. Instead, we stand together, and as sons and daughters, we sing, "You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am." Now you might be the younger, and you might have come into the church carrying, "I will enter into this relationship because this is my fresh start. Ignore all this. That was a mess behind me." And so like the younger son, you're saying, I'm here because I need a fresh start, but I'm not worthy to be called son. Just call me slave and let me in the back door. What is your relationship to the loving Father? If you have the ugliest past, your dialogue needs to change, and you need to begin to sing, "You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am." And that's what we're doing here. We have been invited in. We never got too far gone. We never got to be too good. We all were deeply in need. And if there wasn't a God powerful enough to give us life, we were finished. And yet He loved us. Now, older brothers, is there a sin in a younger brother that's so terrible that even the blood of Jesus Christ won't be enough that you would sit at their banquet table? Younger brother, is there an older brother whose offense over your life is so long-lasting and damaging that you would prefer they not come to your banquet table? I know that's a deep statement, but I believe the Father has invited everyone and wants to bring healing and redemption. It doesn't matter how far gone your life has gone, Jesus went that far. It doesn't matter how good you think you are, it isn't enough. Let's stand together and declare that He is a good Father and we are just loved.